Hello, thank you for coming to my channel. This tutorial is going to be for a folio that I'm going to put inside this box that I altered. This is using the paper line Bloom Where You're Planted by Country Craft Creations, and I love the blue and yellow together. And the box is about 2 inches on the bottom, so my folio is not going to be that large, but I wanted something kind of quick and easy that could be put together and made as a gift real fast if need be. So the box opens up and has a place for a picture and then a place to store some things. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you the folio I'm going to make. I'm designing it as I go. So because I'm using the lightweight chipboard, I went ahead and I'm going to use the traditional way of wrapping for the cover. So this is the way I used to do it before Tammy introduced her individual wrap of the pieces. So what I did is I took 2 pieces of the lightweight chipboard, kind of like cereal box material, and I needed 2 that are 7 by 7, 1 that's 3/4 by 7. So because your paper isn't going to be long enough, you have to glue 2 pieces of paper together. And so I have a paper that's 9 by 17. So because my book is 7 inches tall, you go 1 inch on each side. So 7 and 7 is 14, and we have 14 and 3/4, but you have to remember that you have a 1/4 inch space here and a 1/4 inch space here, and then you want 1 inch on each end. So I just went with 9 by 17. I did use 1/4 inch score tape as a guide in between the pieces of my chipboard, and I did use score sheets to adhere it to the paper. So I do have a 1 inch border all the way around. I put score tape along the perimeter of the chipboard, and now I'm going to work with the paper border. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my paper before I put the score tape on, just to kind of save a little bit. And so what I like to do is miter my corners. I gotta get my tool. And I use this to miter my corners just so it's perfect, because you do need a little bit of space on the outside of the corner so that the paper will cover the chipboard. This is really light, so you probably don't need as much of a space, but this gives you about a 1/8 inch space from the corner, from the paper, the edge of the paper. So I'm just going to angle that off, and let me show you. That's about how much paper I left on the end. So I'm going to do that to all 4 corners. Now this is a folio, which means it does not have a hinge system. At least that's my understanding of a folio. And so it's going to be just built on each side here. Okay, so we angle all 4 corners. You can totally wrap this the new way, where you wrap each piece individually. There are other videos out there to show that method if you're not familiar with it. If you go to any of the designers from Country Craft Creations or Tammy Merrill's page for Country Craft Creations. So then I'm going to take 1/4 inch score tape, and I'm going to put that also on the perimeter of the paper. So you put it on the perimeter of the chipboard and the paper. I also use art glitter glue on this too. Whenever you're doing your cover, you want to spend the extra time, and it's better to put a little bit extra on, in my opinion, for adhesive than not enough. You don't want your book falling apart. And one more side. So this is a little bit more, now that I'm used to the other method, it is going to be it's a little bit trickier to wrap it without getting any ripples, or, you know, it's a longer piece that you're working with. So you do have to be patient and give it some time. Don't be in a big hurry. I guess I'm not really in camera very well. So I'm just going to burnish this so that I can make sure that it's down. I already burnished the adhesive that's on the chipboard. Let me get this out of the way. So then what you want to do is you want to train the paper. So some people just take their bone folder and bring it up. I like to stand mine up first, like so, so that I can kind of get that natural, oopsie, excuse me, so I can get that natural fold. And then I'm going to take this one and just kind of go down. All right. We're going to do the same thing to the opposite side. So we're just basically folding these over so that it'll wrap nice and neat around that chipboard. Feels weird doing it this way. It's been a long time. And do the short ends also. So because I miter these at an angle, you are going to have to tuck in that excess paper that's on the corners. I do like to work with my longer sides first. So it's time to remove the backing of the adhesive. I do the chipboard on the bottom and the sides, and in the center between the pieces that are by the spine. And one more here. All right, so then you're still going to use, like I said, your art glitter glue, and you place the glue along the chipboard so that the paper has a nice smooth fold. Okay, and then I do put some in between the tape and the chipboard. Just kind of let it sit for a second and soak into the paper. So because it's a longer piece now that we're using, I like to start in the center and push it over and out at the same time, trying to avoid any kind of ripple. So starting in the center, and I go out. It's more of an up and out hand motion there. And then you'll want to take your burnishing tool and give it a good burnish. I like to make sure that it gets inside those spaces where I had my 1/4 inch score tape. And then I also want to make sure that I do it along the edge so that the paper sticks nice and smoothly and has a crisp edge. Okay, so nice and smooth. There is a bump here, that's where the paper overlapped. I guess I probably should have mentioned this earlier. You don't, where you join your two pieces of paper, you want to make sure that that's not at the edge of your chipboard. You want to make sure that it's in the center of it so that it doesn't get in the way of, you don't want it to rip while you're working with it or opening it and closing it. So you need to have it more towards the center of your chipboard, not at the end like right here. You wouldn't want it there where you open the book. So now I'm going to do the opposite side. And I'm going to go ahead and place the glue up against the chipboard. Now I hope I don't get any ripples on this side. I think my spine piece is a little bit longer right here, so I'm going to have to be careful when I wrap it that I don't get any bubbles or like I said, ripples. I don't like that. Okay, so I'm going to bring it up in the center, and then, yeah, this one's, it's going to want to wrinkle on me, but I'm not going to let it. Okay, and then up and out on this side. There we go. And let's burnish that real well. And there's a little bit of a wrinkle here, but that's not going to make a difference because I'm going to be covered, so it did turn out good. And I do want to do that edge. Okay, so that's what we have so far. And now the short ends, now this is where you have to tuck in these little extra pieces because they have a little bit of excess and you don't want those to stick out. So I'm just going to take this burnishing tool and kind of push down and make sure it's wrapped around the corner. Kind of push it in. I want to make sure it's flat. And then we do the same thing with the glue. And let's take off that backing. And then I put my fingers kind of on the corners so that the paper doesn't pop up. And we're going to smooth that down. One more side, and then we've got the main album cover. Okay, again, I'm going to tuck in those corners. And my adhesive. Hold those down, bring it up and over. And the edge. All right, so that's what we have. And I do want to cover my spine, and so I'm going, if this is 3/4, and then I have a 1/4 on each side, that's 1 1/4. And I want it to go off to the side a little bit more, so I'm going to say about 2, let's go 2.5 inches for the center. Is this 2.5? This will work. Let me see what this measures. Oh, this is actually 3. Did I do that wrong? This is like almost 3.5. But I have it already. It's bigger than it needs to be, but let's go 3.5 by 6 7/8. We gotta trim it. So I took it 1/8 of an inch shorter than the height of my book. And that's going to be centered right here, like so. So I'm going to put score tape on the whole thing because I don't want it to ripple and pucker. So I don't use glue on this step because I can see the lines and that bothers me, and I want it to lay as smooth as possible. So I'm going to use score tape and then place it right here and smooth it out. Now that my cover is done, I thought it would be nice to see what the book looks like before I have all the pattern paper on it. So I think sometimes if you see it without that, it's easier to understand what's going on. Now on part of this, I did have to put some pattern paper down first just because I had to have that background on there before I put this element on. So the first thing, when you open up the book, like I said, it'll be a mirror image. This has a magnet and it holds this card down. Now you can't, don't have it finished yet because I have to glue, it becomes a pop-up feature, and I have to glue these two little triangles down here so that when it opens, these two cards will open up. Okay, so I didn't want this to be not covered with paper. So this is what the pop-up feature looks like, and it closes, and then these two little triangles right here are actually going to be glued to the top. Okay, now this is only glued on 3 sides so that I can put a tag behind there. So then this will open up to the right hand side, and you can see that I have magnets and a corner pocket. This side is left, it's got the other magnet, but I left it plain. That opens up, and there you have that other corner pocket. Then this comes up and this comes down. I will have a belly band waterfall, and again, I can't put that down yet until I get this covered. And I'll probably use my pattern paper to make some sort of pocket, or use a cutout or a cut apart to add something so that something can be tucked inside. But I thought that might be easier to kind of visualize what the process and what's going on. And then you just close the bottom, the top, the side, okay? And then we will have ribbon as a bow tie closure that will fit, keep the book closed, and we'll then put it in the box that I made. So now I'm going to actually show you what the right hand side looks like after I put the pattern paper on it. Okay, as I give you these measurements, remember I'm just doing one side because I've already completed one side. So the measurements that I give you, like this says 2 of them, you would actually need 4 of them. So 2 for the left hand side and 2 for the right hand side. So we do start with the large flaps, and so you're going to need 2 that measure 7 3/8 by 6 7/8, and then you'll need 2 more that are 7 5/8 by 6 7/8. Okay, so we're going to work with those first. So let's do the scoring. So let's start with the smaller ones. So the ones that measure 6 3/8 by 7 3/8, you're actually going to want to put the 7 3/8 inches across the top. 7 3/8 across the top. And we're going to score at 1/2 and 3/4. So we'll go ahead and 1/2 and 3/4. So on our flaps, we do need a little bit of a gusset, so it doesn't get all bunched up, that we have some room to build up the book with the, like right here, you need space to cover, because if you don't give it the gusset, when you place something like this down, it will buckle, so you need to give it some lift. So whenever you have any kind of depth, you have flaps, you need to give it a little bit of a gusset, okay? So that's why you score it twice. And we're going to do that on the other one also. So place the 7 3/8 inches across the top and score at 1/2 and at 3/4. You're going to do the same thing, but now you're going to use the 7 5/8 inch pieces. The 7 5/8 goes across the top, 1/2 and 3/4. One more. 1/2, 3/4. So now you are going to want to burnish all of those score marks. So that you have that 1/4 inch gusset on all of them. Okay, so then when we glue it down, we just glue the 1/2 inch piece down. So while we have this one in our hands, let's go ahead and miter. So you only miter on the 1/2 inch. And you do that to both ends. So you don't miter on that 1/4 inch gusset, just on the 1/2 inch. Okay, so we're going to do that to all of them. We burnish first. and then we miter or taper on the 1/2 inch. Snip. Oh, didn't get that one to the corner. Last one. And go ahead and taper on that one also. And then I have to get rid of those little triangles. So now we adhere those to the book. So I have the longer page on the outside and at the top. So the shorter ones are going to go on the left and the bottom. So I'm going to do one of each here. Okay, so this is the one that was 7 5/8. I feel like the light is hard to... and so I'm going to place glue on the 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to put it close to the spine, but not exactly right up to it. Okay, so you want to make sure you don't go past your fold in your spine. So let's get some glue. Put it on the 1/2 inch. Getting low on glue here. Oopsie. Now I am going to turn my book sideways so it's easier for me to lay it down. And I'm just going to watch top, bottom, side to side, make sure it's even, make sure. Now obviously it looks like it's going off, but that's because I have it folded over on that 1/4. So once I lift up and give it that gusset, it does not go over the cover. Okay, so now the short piece is on my left side, and again I'm going to turn my book sideways because it's easier for me to attach it that way. And I placed mine pretty much all the way to the edge, maybe a little bit like a 1/8 of an inch space. I'll show you once I have it glued. I might have to go get more glue. Okay. And I want to make sure that it lines up with this. So before I push down, I want to make sure I'm not doing a very good job of lining it up right now. And that looks good. And burnish that on there. Okay, so then I have a short one at the bottom, so the 7 3/8, and the long one at the top. Here's my short one, and you're going to place this pretty much all the way to the bottom of the book. I might have a 1/16 of an inch border. And again, I'll hold it up there in just a second. So I have glue on my 1/2 inch. And line it up between the score lines. You don't want to go over. This one I'm pretty much taken down to the bottom, pretty close. And it's between the score lines, so then I'm going to press down. So let me show you how much space I have, like just like a 1/16 of an inch there at the bottom, and on the side like so. Okay, so I just need to do the top one. I have it upside down so I can glue it easier. And then again, I'm going to set this in between these two score lines, so you don't want it going over that 1/4 inch gusset. And it goes pretty much to the top. And I'm looking at the other side as I do this to make sure I put it at the same place that I did on that right-hand side. All right, so let's turn this around. So when I close this, I put the bottom in, then I do the top, then I do the left-hand side, then the right-hand side. Okay, so on this side, looks like so. Top and then bottom. And I still have a little bit more decorating to do. My book's getting kind of chunky, so I can't do too much decorating, but all right, so we're going to leave that alone for a second. And now we're going to work on, get rid of this. Let's do the waterfall. So the pages you need for that. Now this waterfall is a little bit different. And when I first showed the book, I don't think I originally was going to do it differently, but let me show you how this waterfall, not that one, is different. So you can see yellow and blue. All of these flaps have an opening so that you can place a picture behind. And I kept both sides open. Now my mats that I have in here, I have them two different sizes. So you can see the yellow and blue are kind of staggered in widths. You don't have to do that. I just didn't want to waste paper, and I had some yellow that didn't quite meet the same measurement as the blue, so I kind of alternated. So again, every one of them has both sides open so you can place a mat or a picture in there. That's what we're going to work on next. So I use a base, and the base that I work with for this one is going to be 5 by 6.5. So we build our waterfall on that. The closure, I made it a little bit wider, and so I wanted to be able to get a cut apart on there. So that one's 3.5 by 5.5. I wrote myself a reminder that we do need magnets for this project, at least 2 sets of 2. So I'm going to have to double check on, maybe I use 6. I don't know. I'll have to double check. So you need one at 3.5 by 5.5. And then the waterfall itself, you need 5 that measure 5 inches by 9.5 inches. Okay, so let me put my pen in here so it doesn't dry out my glue, and let's do our scoring for the waterfall. So let's do all the flips of the waterfall first. These are the ones that measure 5 by 9.5. You're going to place the 9.5 inches across the top, and you're going to score on the 9.5 inch side at 1/2 and at 5. Let's do that to all of them. 1/2 and 5. So even though this book is kind of thin and a little bit smaller, it does hold quite a few pictures. Now you may want to, if I were to do it over again, instead of doing a 3/4 inch spine, I think I might have done, I might do a 1 inch instead. If I were to do it again. 1/2, 5, and I have 1 left. One half and 5. Okay, let's keep scoring while we're at it. The base you don't score at all. And then the closure you're going to turn on the 5.5 inch side. And you're going to make 2 score marks. Where did I put that? No. Oh, this one I didn't do that. It's the other pop-up that I do. What did I do? Closure, base. Okay, yep, just a half. Just a half on this one. Okay. So now you need to do all of your burnishing. And on this one, so what happens is you're going to fold up and kind of make sure that everything lines up. And then you're going to fold the 1/2 inch back, okay? Because the 1/2 inch is what gets glued to your book. Now look at it and make sure that it lines up. So you might have to do a little bit of adjusting if it doesn't line up just right. That one seems to, okay? And then we're going to eventually take glue to seal it at the very top. I like to do all my burnishing first though. So I'm going to fold it up on the 5 inch. And I'm going to fold back on the score, the 1/2 inch score. So when I look at that, yep, I don't see anything sticking out the top. On the first one I did, I had to kind of work with it a little bit. I didn't line everything up just right. And then back on the score, the 1/2 inch. Take a look at it. Looks good. Go back. Double check it. Last one for me on the waterfall. Now this one, there we go. Half inch to the back. I see a little bit here. There we go. And let's just go ahead and do the glue now to glue these closed. You just need a thin line because you want to be able to fit a mat in between. So just place a thin line of glue up at the top where the 1/2 inch fold is. Just a small amount. Close it. Get rid of any excess glue that comes out. And we're going to do that to all 5, okay, so that we have an opening. So do that to all 5. As we do our waterfall, I use my scoreboard as a guide. So I'm going to turn it sideways so that the lip, there's a border here and here. So I butt up my base, which is 5 by 6.5. I have the 5 inches going across the top. And I'm going to take each of my pages that I have that I just glued shut, and I'm going to put glue on the 1/2 inch strip. You don't miter these. And you butt it up on the scoreboard so that you can line up your base exactly correct so that it doesn't hang over. It's not cattywampus. It should line up just right. So let's go ahead and put glue on this first one. Oh, I need new glue. Okay. Make sure it's in the corner, and I'm just going to bump it up right up against the top and the side. And I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to burnish it. I'm going to go ahead and leave that open. I'm still going to butt this up against my scoreboard, but now as I put the next piece on, I'm going to place it right underneath that 1/2 inch that I glued down. And we'll continue to do that until all of them are laid down on the base. So bump it up against the 1/2 inch and the side of my scoreboard. Lift up and burnish. And then we'll go back when we're done, and then we're going to go ahead and burnish it even more so it lays as flat as possible. Okay, fold back that 1/2 inch, back it up right up to that 1/2 inch we glued down, push it up against the scoreboard, help everything stay lined up. I think I have, what, 2 more? Yep. Okay. Last one. Now when you are done with this, and we're going to put a closure on and a magnet, but you have to remember that before you put this on your book, you are going to have to put your pattern paper on first. And then you put the waterfall on. I'll show you. All right, so now you just want to go back through and just make sure you have burnished them real well. This is artisan, so you can be pretty firm without worrying about it tearing. So there's our waterfall. Now we are going to attach the closure. So you're going to want to center this, and you can either put it on the back piece like so. I think I'll put it on the back. Okay, so put glue. I'm going to put glue on the inside of the 1/2 inch. And I just eyeball it. If it bothers you, you can definitely measure. Okay, now you do want, this is one of the times that you'll need a magnet. These are the basic gray magnets that I get from Country Craft Creations. Need a positive and a negative. If I don't do it now, I might forget, so I got to do that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take the backing off of one side. Place it on the back of the, now put it someplace so that when you put your paper down, it's not going to be too, the magnet won't be too close to the edge. So I'm going to put it about right there. Push down. I'm going to take the backing off the other one. If I can get it, where's it at? There we go. You close the waterfall and press down. And then I like to put a piece of 1/8 inch score tape just to make sure it stays where it's supposed to. like so. Okay, there's our waterfall. I'm going to put that off to the side for right now because we'll attach that later. Next, we're going to do the angled pockets. So you need 2 of them that measure 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. Turn this back around. We will have to do some scoring. So we're going to score 1/2 inch on 2 sides. So when you place your 4 3/4 inches across the top, score it 1/2. Rotate it 1 time and score it 1/2. Okay, so you only do 2 sides. Do that to the other one also. 1/2 and 1/2. Okay, so we are going to be doing some cutting on this one also. I'm going to go ahead and cut out, there is a square in the corner where the 2 score lines intersect. We're going to cut that off at an angle. Like so. Okay. Burnish. So you're going to need a left hand and a right hand side. Okay, so I have a 1/2 inch on the left and a 1/2 inch on the bottom. Now when I do this one, I'm going to want the 1/2 inch on the right and 1/2 inch on the bottom. Go ahead and cut out that square in the corner at a diagonal. All right, so now we're going to do some cutting because I want these angled. And I did 1 1/4 inch over and 1 1/4 inch down. So using your ruler, this is for the left hand side. I'm going to just put my ruler down here, and with a pencil, which is right here, I'm going to mark it 1 1/4 inch. And I'm going to do the side, and 1 1/4 inches up from the bottom. Make sure that's straight. Put a little tick mark. Now you can draw a line if you want to from one to the other. I just put it in my cutter. And I line up the tick marks. So I'm going to place 1 tick mark up here. The other one is down here. So that should cut off exactly where I want it to be. Is that what I want? Okay. Now I can see a little bit of my pencil mark, so I'm going to want to erase that right now so I don't forget. Okay, so that's our left hand side. And now for the right hand side, we're going to do the same thing, but we want the tick mark 1 1/4 inches from the side here. And 1 1/4 inch up from the bottom. And that's with the 1/2 inch folded underneath. Okay, get your cutter. Put those 2 tick marks in the channel to cut it. And then go ahead and erase any extra pencil marks. So let's go ahead and put these in our book. So the angled pockets go on the two flaps once they're open, on the left and the right. Okay. So there's going to be one here when we open on the right, and on that left flap over here. I'm running out of room to show you. All right, so let's just go ahead. Now, because these were a square, it should be pretty easy. If you get them accidentally mixed up, they're the same measurement, so it doesn't matter if it goes to the left or to the right hand side. That looks good. Now, when you do the matting, you're going to want to cut a square that is 4 5/8 by 4 5/8, and then you're going to measure over 1 1/8 across and 1 1/8 from the bottom, and then cut that at the diagonal to mat it. Okay, line it up at the bottom and on the side, and burnish. Now, the reason why I didn't need to miter that 1/2 inch, because it's not all the way to the top of the book, so it doesn't matter if you saw a little bit overhanging. That's not an issue. Okay, now we're going to do the other side. I am running out of room. And line those up. Bottom and side. And burnish those on. And I'm going to go ahead and place my waterfall in here. So see, this is why you have to cover it first with pattern paper and then put this on and center it. I centered mine closer just by the sides, not and the top and the bottom too. But you want to be able to stick things through those openings, so you don't want to go all the way to one end. Make sure you center it. Okay, and that's why we gave ourselves a little bit of a gusset, is because this has some thickness to it now, and we want it to lay down nice and flat. Okay, so I believe I have a magnet. I know I do. Not that one. Yep, I have a magnet. So I used 3 sets of magnets on this side and 3 sets of magnets on this side. So 6 sets. So I'm going to go ahead and do the magnets now so I don't forget. And the closure won't require magnets because I'm going to use some organza ribbon. A plus and a minus. Now I want to make sure it doesn't fight with this one. So you got to be careful that your magnets don't oppose one another. See that? So I need to make sure I put it someplace else so it's not going to get in the way. What if I did the minus? Nope. Okay, so just be careful when you're doing that. You don't want it to interact with that other magnet. All right, so I'm going to place it more, probably right about there is fine. It doesn't have to be in the center. Just don't want it flopping open and closed all the time. And then go ahead and close your book. Push down. And go ahead and put that 1/8 inch score tape on there. Keep it in place. Like so. So I saved the best for last, kind of. So this next one part I saw someone make as a card, and so I wanted that to be in my book, and it has taken me a couple practice tries to get it right. So I hope I show you correctly when I do this. So you might want to watch this video all the way through first, and then to make sure I don't make any stupid mistakes, and then go back and try it. So this is it's got a closure, a magnetic closure. Then this opens up and you have two mats. Okay. And then when you close it, you just kind of push them down like so. So we're going to make it on like a card as a base, and then we'll attach it to our book, and we're only going to glue it on 3 sides so it's a pocket also. So here are the measurements. So you'll need one piece that's 6 by 12 and 2 that are 1.5 by 7. You'll need one that's 1 3/4 by 4 5/8 and 2 that are 3.5 by 4 3/4. Okay, so let's start with some scoring. The 12 inches goes across the top of your scoreboard. I'm going to need a pencil. Where'd my scoring tool go? All right, in front of my face. And now score at 6 inches, so just right in half. Move that off to the side. The 2 pieces that measured 1.5 by 7, place the 1.5 inches across the top of your scoreboard and just score at 1/2. Do that to both pieces. Score at 1/2 with the 1.5 inches across the top. Okay, the only other thing you're going to want to score is that closure piece, so that 1 3/4 by 4 5/8. Put the 4 5/8 across the top, and you're going to make 2 score marks because this does get kind of thick. So you're going to score at 1/2 and at 5/8. So there's just a 1/8 inch little gusset there. Okay. So far, so good. Let's do some burnishing. So make sure that your 2 ends meet up nice and neat. You might have to do a little bit of adjusting before you burnish. All right. So here comes the moment of truth. Watch this through first. Oh, wait, let me go ahead and burnish this while I'm at it. And then that 1/8 inch gusset, that's kind of tricky to score. Okay, just a little bit of a gusset there. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and burnish our 1/2 inch score marks. And we are going to all right, so I have the 1/2 inch on my right hand side, and I'm going to put it on my scoreboard, and I'm going to measure down 1 inch and put a tick mark right there on that fold, or that, yeah, right there. Okay, that's right there on the fold. So if I were to open it up, that 1 inch tick mark, 1 inch down. Now on the other side, it's still closed. The 1/2 inch is on the right hand side. Now I'm going to put a tick mark at 2 inches. Okay. Now leaving it closed, I'm going to do a light pencil mark connecting those two at an angle. Like so. That's what you have so far. Now you're going to open it, and you're going to start at the upper left hand corner. You're going to draw a line to the opposite end, and it's going to touch the line will touch that 1 inch that we just did. So let me show you. 1/2 inch is on the right. I'm going to place my ruler so that it's on the upper left hand corner, and I place the ruler so it's touching that tick mark that we made at 1 inch down, and I'm going to draw a line all the way across. So that's what you have. Let's do that to the other one, but this time we're going to do it the opposite way. So now the 1/2 inch is on the left hand side. On the fold, put a tick mark at 1 inch. Okay. On the opposite side, put a tick mark at 2 inches. And then connect those 2 tick marks with your ruler or a pencil line. So that's what we have so far. Now open it up and draw a line from the upper right hand corner down to the opposite side and make sure it touches that 1 inch mark. So far I sound like I know what I'm doing, huh? Oopsie. Oops, where's my eraser? Where's my eraser? Shoot, I'll just have to use my pencil, I guess. Okay, so now you're going to cut off this on the 1/2 inch side, on the 1/2 inch score, and down that line. That comes off. So now it looks like this. Do that on the other one also, just on the 1/2 inch side. And so now that one looks like that. So we do need to score on those 2 pencil marks. So I'm just going to get a stylus. I think that's, yeah. And I'm going to get my ruler. And I'm just going to go back and forth so I can fold it easily. And then on the other one too. Okay. So you're going to fold, let me double check this. Yes. Burnish it. And then you're going to burnish the triangle, the pencil marks on the back. I'm going to bring it to the front though, so it looks like an arrow. Like so. So the 1/2 inch is on the right hand side tucked under. On the lowest score line, fold it towards the right hand side. Then there's that little triangle at the top that mark is on the back. Bring that to the front. Okay. Now let's do it on the other one. Put that 1/2 inch on the left, tuck it underneath. We're going to score on the lines. Okay. So we're going to fold over to the left. Then we're going to take that triangle with the pencil mark on the back and bring that to the front. So this is what it looks like. Looks like 2 arrows. Now would be a good time to do any erasing if you see any pencil marks. So I think, where does my, oh, there it is. So now I'm going to do the erasing. And on this one, there we go. Now I was having too many issues trying to cover those triangles. So let me show you what I did when it came time to do the matting. Because of the paper I'm using, oh, on this side, I just cut out some of the little honeycombs from the bee paper and put them on there. It was driving me crazy trying to get it just perfect. And I did cut out triangles for this. Now before we can glue it down onto our card base, you do have to cover the top of your card base first. So we'll put paper here, then we're going to attach this. So let me, here's my card base. So on the other one I did yellow. So I think on this one, I think I'll just do the shiny blue that I have. All right, I ended up doing 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 for mine. That's what fit best. So this is the part that can be confusing. So I'm going to try and go slow. Here we go. You want the piece that has the score mark on the left-hand side, the 1/2 inch. You would think it would go over here. It does not. It goes to the right-hand side. So the 1/2 inch, I'm going to tuck it underneath. And so you see the 1 inch strip at the top. You're going to place this on the bottom of your card, like so. Okay, so it will open up and your 1/2 inch is not to the end. It's over a 1/2 inch. Okay, so let me put glue on the 1/2 inch strip. Okay, I'm going to fold that 1/2 inch under. I'm going to line it up on the right hand side so it lines up with the bottom and the side. And I'm going to burnish it. Okay, so when you open it, this 1/2 inch is over. So now let's go ahead and adhere the next one. So the score mark is on the right, that 1/2 inch. You're going to tuck that under and you're going to glue it now to the left side. So this 1/2 inch does not go to the edge, the 1 inch does. Okay, so let's lay that on the bottom and on the side so it lines up. And burnish that. Okay, so now it might be easiest if, do I want to cover that first? Okay, I'll just go ahead and we'll glue it first. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up both of these. So they're open, okay? They were like this, now they're like this. The one that's on the right-hand side, fold that down to the right, and then bring that little triangle to the front. So it looks like this. you're going to take the one that's on the left, fold it down to the left, and bring that triangle to the front. So this is what it should look like. I hope it helps to see it that close. We're going to place glue on those little tiny triangles, and then we're going to close it, and then those will stick to the top. I do it both of them at the same time. So I'm going to put just glue on that little triangle. Okay, kind of hold those down. I'm going to bring this up and over. I'm going to burnish them, and I'm not going to open it for a little bit. I want to make sure that it stays down. Okay, so I'm going to leave it closed for a little bit, and I'll go ahead and attach now the belly band, or the, excuse me, the closure while we're waiting. So remember, it has a 1/8 inch little gusset because this does become a little bit thick. And I'm going to glue that on the back, and I just eyeball it. Okay, so I'm going to flip that over, and I'm going to put glue on that little 1/2 inch. So I'm going to center it. That's good enough for me. And let's burnish that. Okay, so now I have that little 1/8 inch gusset. Now I do need magnets for the closure. So another positive and a negative. All right, now I don't want these two magnets fighting each other. So if these are on top of each other, I want this on the top. Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take the backing off. Where's my, there it is. Let's see. That should be about right. Push down on your magnet. Oopsie. Open it up. Take the backing off this one. Close it, push down. Get your 1/8 inch score tape. There we go. All right, it should have been closed long enough that it should be dry. And now the last thing is to grab your two pieces that were 3.5 by 4 3/4. And we're going to attach those. So open this up. So we're going to glue these on the 1 inch piece like so. So I have The 1-inch piece is closed. Let me double check. Yes. Okay, so this doesn't need glue all the way to the top, but 4 3/4 inches tall. So about, geez, it's about right here. So I put glue on the 1 inch, 4 3/4 inches long. And I'm going to glue this to the bottom and make sure it lines up. Don't go over the fold on that 1/2 inch. And now let's do this one. So keep it closed. We need to put glue on that 1 inch strip about 4 3/4 inches up. I'm going to turn it now. Like so. Oh, I need to let that dry for a second. So here we go. They fold to the center, like so. Now when you glue this to your book, glue on 3 sides so that you have a pocket. And I put glue up a little bit higher so that my pocket or my card or tag wouldn't go all the way to the bottom. So I glued up a little bit higher. Okay. Like so. And that's why I put the little honeycomb thing here. This you can go ahead and cut a 7/8 by 7/8 inch square and then cut it on the diagonal, and then you can put them on those 2 little triangles right there. Okay. Now when you put this in your book, I centered it and then put it at the bottom, because if I have a tag, I wanted to have a little bit more space at the top. Okay. And then we'll do the front and back cover, because we do have to put our ribbon closure. Now that I have done the inside, I'll show you. You definitely need to do a 1 inch, not a 3/4. Look at that. It's a little bit too big for my liking. It's because of the closures on the inside. But yeah, make this 1 inch and you'll be happier. All right, so this is what it looks like. I've already shown you this side. So then this side is, you know, like a mirror image, only it's got different papers on it. So that opens up, and then you have your pop-up. And that opens, and there's your corner pocket. Then this one's got the corner pocket. This is going to lift up, and that's open, so you can put something in there. This is open, so you can tuck something in there. And then there's that one. And then here's the waterfall. So I ended up cutting these all to be the same size. I didn't like the staggered size. And I made them, one of them's white and blue, and on the other side it's white and yellow. So these just, remember, go all the way through, like so. So I love how it looks. Now, like I said, I wish I would have made this spine a little bit thicker, but it's too late for me now, but it's not too late for you. So the closure, let me show you. I'm going to use this. I love this stuff. It's organza. I think that's what you call it. And it ties super nice. So I'm going to make this. I'm going to glue it down on the front and the back. And then I'll put my pattern paper on for the cover. So I'll adhere that with glue. And so now the only thing I need to do is put my paper on the outside cover and decorate. So I'll come back one more time and show you what it looks like once I have it decorated. All right, so here is what the book looks like now that it is decorated. I did put an applique on the edge here. I had some brads that had letters on it, and so I spelled out the word grow, and I put them through a little piece of the paper. It's about 1 inch by inch, and then I did put it on, popped it up on a foam square. Okay, and then this is a cutout. I did put that on chipboards to kind of lift it up because I did distress the corners, and so it needed a little bit of lift. This butterfly was actually a tag. I don't know where I got them, but they look like this, and I just cut off the bottom and put it underneath this, cut apart. This is one of the flowers from the store, the 49 and Market ones. Put a little spray over here, little white ribbon, larger flower. This is the seam, or the organza ribbon I was talking about. Love it. Here's a charm. So I'll open it up and go through it real quick. I feel like there's not enough light, but then, okay. This book, I know I said it before, go with a 1 inch spine instead of a 3/4 inch spine. So this is what it looks like. And I think I did go through the inside already. I'm recording this at 2 different times. So yeah, I just stuck this right in here. So you've seen the inside and I totally forgot. And then there's the back. But I like it when the applique goes onto the back. So I've also had a request for a tutorial on how to make the box. So I just want to remind you that I did not create the box, I just decorated the box. Okay, so I can show you, like, kind of go through how I layered things, I guess, but that's about, I don't know what else that I would show. So I'm going to open this box up, put the album in there, which fits perfectly. And wouldn't that make a great gift? Love it. All right. I appreciate you watching. I'll try and link as much of the materials that I used in the description box. But this really it's an easy project for a first-time creator of an album, because there was really nothing well, the one part where the card pops up, that's a little tricky. But other than that, I think it's pretty easy. So you're going to love this collection. Bloom where you're grown, bloom where you're grown, bloom where you're planted. I can't remember what it's called. I have it at the beginning of the video. Oh my gosh, I can't find the paper. Bloom where you're planted. I think that's what it's called. Anyway, it's a Country Craft Creations exclusive. I sure appreciate you watching my videos and my tutorials, so please subscribe if you haven't. And I'm wishing all of you, this is the night before Easter, I'm wishing all of you a happy Easter. Thanks.